imagine the majority of our audience will be young students or maybe young members as well. So bear that in mind, when you're sort of expressing yourself, you might like to explain certain terminologies, etc.
Hi, Arif. We are now live. Please proceed.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to the ACCA community listening on Facebook Live. Today, the topic of our discussion is a race for relevance, skills and mindset needed during and post-COVID-19. So don't let that title scare you. In my own opinion, the race for relevance is really ensuring that businesses are able to connect with changing customer behaviors, whether those customers are individuals or whether those are businesses. The business has to remain connected. If I were to take a classic view, and pardon me just for now, let me introduce our panelists. I've made a mistake right from the start. We've got with us, in no order of preference, Kamran Yousufi from KPMG. So I know Kamran for many years now, and KPMG is one of the leading Big Four firms operating in Pakistan. Salim Gori, I know for many years as well. Salim heads up NetSol, which is a very familiar brand name to most of us by now. And NetSol is in the area of software and technology as well. And we have with us Umar Munawwar from Finja, and Finja is a new fintech enterprise, really sort of providing tools for digital payments. So without further ado, let me go back to my narrative. And you all know out there that businesses fundamentally are created to meet customer needs. Those needs can be for goods or services. And in my opinion, that formula still holds today. There is a need for basics goods, there's a need for higher level goods, and businesses exist to meet that. Businesses like NetSol and Finja also fill that need for other businesses. So there's if you like, an ecosystem that is built up of why we need businesses and why we need them to make goods and services. I suppose the race for relevancy piece comes, in my opinion, means how quickly can these businesses respond to that need? How is that need changing? Customizing products, bespoke products, better delivery, better after-sales service, better pricing, better payment methodologies. So is that all of that driving this race for relevance? And whoever sort of wins that race will sort of, destroy all its competitors. And this is what we call disruption. So one can explore then later on maybe internal customer needs as well. How's that external piece impacting internal? So, let's start off with Salim, from NetSol. Salim, that opening comment, my opening sort of comment, that wrap around for the discussion, do you think that it's customer behaviors and customer use of technology that is forcing the race for relevance?
I think if you allow me to go back a little,
Yep.
Pre-COVID-19, we had lived in a certain manner. For 25 years, we had a way of developing software and delivering it. And it was very set. It's a very old way of doing it. You develop software and then you go to the customer with your people. We have customers all around the world. So we go on site and we deliver the software, spend time with them, hands-on with them, hold their hands, train them, and then take them live after a year or two. That's been going on for 25 years. But imagine our shock. And in March, we just realized that we have to withdraw everyone out of our international, customers. Like China. We were in China, about 70, 80 people from Lahore, working with different customers. And I have to take a decision that if we don't withdraw them now, they'll be stuck for a longer period because the flights will be totally stopped from coming out of China. So we just took the decision to call back everyone immediately. That was a very tough decision, Asif. The decision to bring back everyone because customers, needed the services. And we have never looked into how we will service them from off-site. We do have off-site teams, but there were always somebody on-site to help. But that was a shock to our system. So first decision as a CEO was the safety of our employees. So we said no, we safety of employees first. So we brought them back. Now we brought them back to Lahore, and then the second thing happens is lockdown in our own city. So we have to just vacate our office, go home. Now, we have never worked that before. We have never done development with 700-800 people working from home. Work now from home, work together. Now that was the biggest shock for our system. But it's amazing how quickly we were able to adopt that change. Now that's an important example for everyone. We were able to adopt, and just to share with all here that we went live in Malaysia just 3 weeks back, working from home. It's a big implementation, and it was going on for a year. And then working from home without anybody on site, we were able to take our customer live with a mega portfolio in Malaysia. So that's how we have to adopt very quickly. Some of us are able to adopt, others are not. If you're not able to adopt, we would have lost the customer, we would have lost customers' faith, and customers trust on us that we are able to continue any circumstances. I think that's one important relevance here, that are we able to adopt the change? And customer behavior has changed, obviously. They're used to us being in front of them, not anymore. We talk to them like this now, I'm talking to you and others. So that is one behavior change we have to adopt very quickly. And fortunately for us, we were able to adopt. And I just share with you, we have not lost a single day of work or production, an hour or a minute of production. We were able to continue immediately as a big team from home. So that's very important for all to understand. The relevance come here. So yeah, business is changing now. So next question will be how the business is changing. So there's major shift now in how our application was used by the customer. And there's a major change required how we have to adopt now the change.
Right. So Kamran, we were going along as business as usual in that business as usual highway. The business models, the methodology was one that we were used to. Ekdam se coronavirus knocked us out of that highway into a very busy, disrupted, uncertain world. Right? But yet we were able to rely upon technology to get some order. Aapke accounting profession mein, when your clients are business advisory clients, were you able to make that transition?
Yes, RF, like NetSol, we are also into service industry. And the biggest concern for us also was the health and safety of our staff, firstly. But we did adopt to technology in certain areas because we are providing audit, tax, and advisory services. Now, in the three of this, the tax was most vulnerable because unfortunately or fortunately for the country, the FBR offices were always open. And as you know, in the government sector, there's physical contact. It is just not avoidable. So there we had to develop certain strategies which ensured the safety of our staff. But otherwise, in the other two areas, we've been using technology and especially the Microsoft Teams meeting app, which has been very, very fruitful for us. A lot of meetings with clients, internal also have been happening. We can also share documents on that. And similarly, there was a big challenge at the year end where stock counts had come, and those were, in remote areas also. So part of it was also managed through using communication technology. There were virtual stock takes in some places. But otherwise, yes, but the biggest impediment that we faced in using technology for our business was the communications infrastructure. that hasn't been very effective or as such, supportive, because there were big volume data at times to be shared and reviewed, and that was just not possible at times. So that was the impediment. But otherwise, yes, we've adopted, and the biggest positive of this whole is that it's really been a change in mindset now, and people are now forced or compelled to look towards technology. So for us, and especially the others who are into technology, it's a much positive sign, and this will bring. I'm sorry, I might be digesting, but in the future also, this will benefit our economy as such.
Umar, you are in one of those sectors where you're trying to connect. You know the need. There's a need for transaction services. There with millions and millions of adults within Pakistan who are using mobile phones. They want to, they have that ability to use the mobile phones. They don't necessarily have the ability to understand the technology, but they can use the mobile phones. And then, and you're saying there's a need to make payments, for goods and services. फिर आपने वो दोनों चीज़ों को, you put them together. Yeah. Up, all of a sudden the environment has changed that really suits your product, doesn't it?
It definitely does suit our product, and our main business customers have been businesses from the past year or so, because we have an approach where we digitize, our ecosystem is built around the businesses, and we start digitizing each part of the ecosystem around those businesses, from salary payments to their vendor payments to their employee attendance, and our lead product has been Finja Business. But the thing that we saw in this crisis was, before this crisis, it acted as a catalyst for digitization in the country as a whole as well. Because before that, we were seeing our sales cycles were 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and quite long. But as soon as the work from home came in and people were working remotely, so people adopted and signed up to our Finja Business product, and we saw a rapid exponential increase in customer base and corporates that we were serving, from large to small, all size. So because we were a point where we became digitizing their complete approval processes for financial needs. Before that, the companies were for making payments in check. For example, if Salim had to make a payment, it would be Salim signing, his CFO signing on a check, and all of that. So our product helped to do all of this remotely. So we got a very rapid, sharp uptake of the product, because it allowed you to manage your cash flows much more smoothly, even if you are away working from home. So we saw a change there, and we are seeing this change in the mindset of each businesses of adopting technology after this, and that's a positive change that we are seeing. It has changed certain structural things in our businesses as well. For example, traditionally you would need a feet on street or a sales team who would be going out and talking to clients, presenting them, giving them demo. Now it's much more easier. Now you, instead of taking 3 meetings a day, you can take 5 meetings a day, because the meeting is happening over a Zoom call. You don't have travel times, you don't have anything of that sort. So these are the positives that we see, and tech has been adopted. Remote working has been adopted by everyone, like people in their 50s, people in their 20s, and the adoption has been kind of a seamless, because we have been using smartphones and all of that in the past. So for us, it has been going good, but it has changed fundamentally. As Salim also said, that we might not need now big teams in the future to service our clients on ground there. They can be served remotely as well now, and that's the change that we are seeing in the business models that we are seeing during this period. And it's all been leveraged through technology that's there.
अच्छा एक बड़ा practical question मेरे mind में आया है that technology is never perfect. We don't
Yep.
live in a perfect world. And technology will break down. Yep. So
Yep.
I was once traveling from Karachi to Dubai, and PIA's online booking and boarding system broke down. Right.
Yep.
And you had queues of thousands of people. Right. At once, the operations person, Salim, had to go to a manual system, right? You can't just keep people hanging around. You have to board them using the good old-fashioned manual boarding cards. Yeah. अच्छा ये बताएं, what is the set of behaviors and mindset that people working in the 21st century should have? If technology breaks down, do we just put our feet up and say, the computer says no? सलीम, इसमें क्या हम करें?
देखिए, एक बात तो अर्फ ये है कि we can adopt very quickly. I mean, the questions are interesting to me because, as I said earlier, we were in a shock. We never expected not to be in office. We never expected not to be on site. As Umar said very clearly, we were so used to, we were in a comfort zone. It was like, we were comfortable. The cost was high of, being on site, but it worked well. So we could not imagine in our the implementation cycle that we will not be able to be on site and do it. But look what happened. We are not on site and we are still delivering systems and we are still able to take customers live. So yeah, I think humans are very adaptive. Yes, in this era, we are so dependent on technology now. We are so dependent on how we were working. But surely we have to make sure that if one system breaks down, we have to have some other way of making sure we continue to deliver our services, we continue to deal with each other, and we continue to work with each other. And this is what I was saying to somebody yesterday, to the young crowd, that we need more applications. Now a great opportunity for somebody to develop a better meeting system, a better Zoom, a better StreamYard. So I believe this is a bonanza for developers. There's so much more can be done, how we meet, how we do, because for sure I will not travel for business anymore. I believe I love this here. Yeah, I'll go for vacations. But here I can save so much energy and time and not to travel, and customers getting used to that. Earlier, if customers used to insist that I come and see them once a month for a steering committee meeting. They want to see face to face, and they want to be upset with us, and they will tell us how things are not working well. Now they accept us. We can talk on one of the technology devices, and they're happy with that. Earlier, it was so important to be with the customer. So yeah, the change is there. We have accepted the change, and if it breaks down, then we must find ways of making sure the business continue is not stopped, and we can still deliver whatever commitment we have made.
Kamran, is your workforce flexible enough, adaptable enough in their mindset that if there is a koi spanner in the works aa jata hai technology mein, they have the thinking sort of process to resort to an alternative?
I think another reason, as Salim has just explained, another reason could be that we've converted to technology comparatively in recent times compared to the West. It's been like hardly a decade or so where people have been really using technology. So for us, there are people like us who are in their 50s or whatever, and they can really go back to the manual processing of things. So yes, but हमारे line of business में we staff young boys and girls, so they are, yes, they use technology, but at the same time living in this environment, they can always go back to the manual processing and doing things manually, or an alternative to technology. And as Salim said, one has to be adaptive. It's a continuous change. You can't really just rely on one form of doing things. एंड पाकिस्तान में स्पेशली जैसे मैंने पहले भी बोला कि there are certain impediments of using technology, and we are in the process. So hopefully, when the communication means of communication and our bandwidths and those kind of things they improve, so is going to be the uh, frequency of use. Magar, the biggest thing is that it's at least now the change in mindset. I'll repeat it again, which I'm seeing, especially in our businesses, where people are now really looking towards technology. So isse, when there are many other users coming in, joining businesses, especially, so the infrastructure also is bound to improve.
ये जो एक्सप्रेशन उमर यूज होती है डिजिटल डार्विनिज्म दैट एक हम एज अ ह्यूमन हमारे जो डिजिटल एबिलिटीज जो हैं वो इवॉल्व हो रही हैं gradually over time, just like evolution of man, whether you believe that man was or originated from a monkey or not, but the evolution means that you are gradually sort of moving away from those manual systems that Kamran mentioned, me and Kamran belong to that generation with one foot in the manual process and one foot in the technology world. लेकिन ये are you confident enough, Umar, that जब एक टेक्नोलॉजी अगर फेल हो जाए, that जो डिजिटल नेटिव्स जो हैं, जो मिलेनियल्स जो हैं, उनके पास enough capabilities होंगी that वो एक that they can switch over?
One thing, जिस तरह सलीम ने कहा, we are adaptable as a race. We adopt to changing environment and we adapt at a very rapid pace. And if you see how the technology is changing, every year, every month, you are seeing a new technological evolution that is coming up. And how soon do you adapt to it? So your adaptation time is decreasing over time. Maybe a new phone model 10 years back was coming after a year, but now the tech is improving within hours, within months. You are getting better features, better things. And as a customer centric organization who are into tech, their first preference is they have a business continuity plan, that if one thing fails, there's a backup, there's a third backup. So we, as customer centric organization who are servicing customers, and especially in finance, we have complete disaster recovery and business continuity plan in place. For example, we always had this business continuity plan in place, that if there's a fire in office, if something happens, how are we going to work from home, how are we going to work from alternate sites, and all of that. And we at times have kept on testing our systems for that as well. And as soon as this crisis hit and there was a lockdown, we were well prepared for it, that we can work from offsites. And my belief is that utilizing technology and working from offsites and working from home has increased the productivity of each of our employee base as well, because now they are spending more time into productive activities as compared to going to office, traveling between client meetings, taking a business trip to Karachi, taking a business trip to Singapore, evaluating technology. It's done over digital mediums now. It's saving time, and I believe in this time it has brought in a balance between work and life as well in many aspects for people as well, where meetings are much more smoother, they are much more documented, there's agenda behind everything if you guys are meeting. Because when in office, you might my observation about it is, when you're working from home, it's more like you are fully involved in the thing that you're doing. In office, when there are people around you, there's a complete community around you, there's a lot of time that goes in small chit chats, small talks, and as well those as well. But I believe we have become much more efficient. What my observation was, like, people working 10 to 4, they would tend to achieve much more than what they were doing that in office. And customer centric organization, tech tech is one of those things we need to have our business continuity plan and backups in place as companies. Otherwise, someone will come from the back when you are out of service and take your clients over.
Acha, just
Arif, if you allow me, please. Am I allowed?
Yep.
Can I come in?
Yep.
Umar has come up, raised a very important aspect of this change, and I'm surprised, Umar. We were used to working at an office. Every morning we leave home, come office, so there was a set routine in life.
Yeah.
And I was expecting people will want to come back to office. But to my surprise, with all my meetings, and I'm asking people, hey guys, come back to office. They don't want to come back to office.
Yeah.
They say we are more productive. And to me, that's a very interesting aspect of it. And they are productive. They're surely more productive. And they have more better time with their families. In fact, they're working longer hours, which I don't like it. I would like them to spend time with the family. But because they're home, they're able to do more. So this is a very interesting change, actually. So what happens in the future?
Salim, do you trust your workforce that they are spending time when they're at home? They're spending time on the work assignments.
It's easy. In our case, it's easy because deliverables. We have deliverables, and we have time limits on the customer, commitment. So if someone is just slacking off, he'll be caught, she'll be caught very quickly, and they will lose the job because this is not going to be acceptable. So, yeah, in our case, it's easy. It's very accountable. Everybody's logged in, and they have we use Jira system, we use all the systems to make sure everything is documented properly. So,
Kamran, I can see you trying to say something, Kamran, about trust.
Go ahead.
Yes,
I think we've lost Kamran.
Yeah, we lost. So yeah, to me, this is interesting change COVID post-19. A question to Umar and others: what happened to office space? I have a huge campus here, which work every day, 200 people. I'm the only one sitting here. I'm the only one in office today.
Yeah. So that's the same thing for us.
इसको मैं क्या करूँ इस बिल्डिंग को?
Yeah.
So क्या होगा? इतना real estate लाहौर में जो बन रहा है, क्या होगा इसका?
No, I'm really concerned. I'm very honest with that. I believe that हम इतने used to हो जाएंगे कि हम अपना ऑफिस को बस वो कर देंगे, एक छोटा सा 2 कमरे लेके बैठ जाऊंगा जहां पर मैं मीटिंग कर लूंगा. That's all. With I can do that. But people don't want to come back to office, and I respect that because they're working. They're able to, some of them used to take hour and a half to travel to the office, coming and going 3 hours. Now, they're at home. They get in the morning, whatever they're wearing. हाँ, एक और बात था, आपके कपड़े सस्ते हो गए. I'm not wearing my suits and ties. And, I'm just using a $5. वो क्या होती है यार, वो गोल वाली वो पहनता हूँ. तो कपड़े भी गए, खर्चे ही खत्म हो गए.
It's very sad that I go into my wardrobe every morning और मैं अपने सारे वहाँ पे कपड़े देखता हूँ और फिर मैं टी-शर्ट और शॉर्ट्स पहन के बाहर आ जाता हूँ.
वैसे मैं भी अभी शॉर्ट्स में बैठा हूँ. I don't want to show you my legs.
Achha, I wanted Kamran in this next piece. Let him come in. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about leadership. जो leadership की जो characteristics होती हैं, वो ये है that leaders tend to spend a significant amount of their time sort of on creativity and innovation. अच्छा, जब दूसरे लोग इन leaders को देखते हैं, they look at the leaders, they're sitting in their rooms and it looks like they're not doing anything. But in fact, there is an amount of time that you spent just purely thinking about the future and about being creative. But then what happens is that in Pakistan especially, leaders are also bogged down by litigation. They're also bogged down by customer relations. They're also bogged down with regulatory compliance. SECP is knocking on your door. They're fining you for small things. State Bank is also knocking on your door. They're fining you for not doing certain things. There's constant audits going on from the SECP, the State Bank, and the FBR as well, right? When I asked Kamran this question when I met him a few months ago, and I asked him about technology. I asked about what is the CFO's response to robotics, to artificial intelligence, to cloud, to blockchain. And Kamran said to me, look, the CFO is bogged down with compliance. He can't think about these things, right? Salim, is that the case that hum Pakistan mein we're so bogged down in compliance and regulation that hamare paas wo creative time ही नहीं है to think about these exciting new technological advances?
Arif, to a great extent, you have hit the nail on the head. That is true. But come on, Arif, we need, as a leader, we are responsible. We people look to up to us to think and to know the future. People expect you to know the future. उनके उस दिन में के सिर्फ को सब पता है, सिर्फ को ये पता है कि पेंडेमिक आने वाला है. सलीम को नहीं पता था यार, सलीम, लेकिन मैंने इज्जत बचा ली. I saved my इज्जत and we were able to continue. But सलीम को नहीं पता था. Salim was not ready for pandemic. Salim was not prepared, but alhamdulillah, we were able to very quickly move and able to make sure we continue the business. So leadership is definitely, people look up to them. Doesn't matter how bogged in you are with the governance, you have the role to think. You must think. You must be creative. You must know the future. आपको थोड़ा सा future का पता होना चाहिए. Otherwise, आपकी organization will lag behind from others. But एक interesting बात मैं कर देता हूँ आपका कि my son 5.5-year-old son, अब क्योंकि मैं घर से काम कर रहा था तो मुझे कहता आप काम तो करते नहीं, सिर्फ बातें करते हो. What is this? मैं कह सकता हूँ. तो मैंने कहा यार मेरा जॉब यही है कि I have to just talk. But yeah, so a CEO doesn't need to be involved all the time. I think that's a bad leadership.
ये बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट है और मैं उमर और कामरान को भी लेके आऊंगा इसके अंदर. Because अगर CFO आपके कमरे में आता है, उसके हाथ में एक नोटिस है ACCA का, जिसमें वो आपके कंपनी को फाइन करने वाले हैं और हर डायरेक्टर को फाइन करने वाले हैं, राइट? और it looks like a very harshly worded sort of notification. How do you switch off your mind? How do you switch off your mind from litigation and compliance and fines to creativity? Umar?
आप बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं, but what we have observed, our regulators, State Bank and SCCP, they are evolving as well, and they are supporting digitization, and there's a change in mindset at the leadership at the top there as well, and they are much more accepting of the future technology, especially the State Bank and SCCP as well. And SCCP, during their recently they launched a sandbox program in which they allowed new age businesses to come in and experiment, even if they are not covered under the regulation. They can come in, submit an application and experiment. So experimentation there would lead to innovation. They have accepted that for a fact. And as we, my belief is very clear, as leadership teams, we spend 30% of our day looking after the day-to-day, and 70% to 60% of the time that we spend as leadership team is about the future 12 months, something that's going to come after 16 months, that's going to come after 12 months. That's our role, like to be proactive, to build teams, to build teams, get the relevant people, to build those things that are in the future pipeline 12 months down the road and 16 months down the road, all such things. And one thing, as a leadership team, we need to accept that we need to delegate much more efficiently. I can't be a single point of failure in an organization. Maybe
very interesting. उसके ऊपर अभी succession planning की भी बात करते हैं फिर, as you mentioned that as well, about delegation. I just want to bring Kamran into this. Kamran, we were talking about a few months ago when I visited your office, and I said to you, how is the CFO of enterprises in Pakistan, are they thinking about robotics? Are they thinking about artificial intelligence? Are they thinking about blockchain? And you said to me that जो CFO पाकिस्तान में है, वो तो उसके ऊपर तो burden compliance का बहुत ज़्यादा है, उसके ऊपर litigation का burden बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, उसके ऊपर regulatory compliance के जो है FPR, State Bank, SECP, Competition Commission, ये सारे चीजें जो है, it seems that they're on the shoulders of either the CFO or the CEO, right? So जब ये माहौल होता है, how can the CFO or the CEO be creative in sort of exploring new technology to grow their business?
Arif, yes, I do remember that conversation, but that was some time ago. But as technology, there's, as these two other guests they've mentioned, there's continuous innovation going on, improvements coming in. Now, what we are looking at is certain tools coming into the market, which are not that very expensive also. And something like robotics process automation, something like this can be implemented in your normal processes, like for example invoice processing. Now there's hardly any compliance or regulatory requirements there, but these are not very expensive tools. But yes, of course, definitely there's a tremendous amount of cost saving and efficiency. These are coming in. Some tools the firms and the IT firms are also using, and you will, inshallah, in the immediate future, see these being implemented across the businesses in Pakistan. मगर वो भी argument अपनी जगह, that was valid, because I mentioned about the year-end challenge we had to be physically present at each client for the stock take. There were certain proposals. Some were fired down by ICAP and other regulators, but fortunately things had to move on, and they were done, like using robots and other means for ensuring the presence of stock. So yes, it's a blend, but definitely as things improve, technology improves, and the costs come down. So
अच्छा, ये
you
जो
lot of
ये जो उमर
implementation
कह रहे थे, ये जो उमर
in the
बात कर रहे
future.
थे, that the regulator is also changing their attitude and their mindset. आपको ये फील हो रहा है, कामरान?
Taken frankly, kuch to would be out of compulsion, because the buy-in definitely has to be there. If you do things out of compulsion and just to demonstrate that you are also changing, would not benefit anyone for that matter. But yes, the filings and everything, they are now improving. There's a lot of automation at that end. So the convenience for their customers, which are the businesses, is there. Okay,
सलीम, इनको कैसे
it's not at a pace which one would.
सलीम, ये सारे regulators को synchronize कैसे आप करोगे to be sort of business friendly and technology friendly? SECP, State Bank, FBR. What needs to be done to synchronize their sort of attitude towards businesses?
Some positive already happening, like they're allowing us to now have board meeting through Zoom or whatever technology, which wasn't the case in the past. They're allowing us to be all totally electronically, no paper. So things have changed in last 10 years, or last recently actually. So there is some acceptance to technology, and they're allowing us to do things which were not the norm earlier. So there's hope. I think, Arif, we have to have some hope. The question is valid. How do we synchronize them? Challenge, because they're so distant apart with each other. The three units, State Bank, FBR, SECP, the Paxos Stock Exchange, to me as a public company, very challenging. It is the need of the hour. They have to now. If we want to stay competitive in the world, we have to adopt the ways how using technology we can make sure there's no time lag. We do things quickly. So I hope the regulators do understand and do appreciate that this change is now going to happen. There's no choice. We will not visit places. We will just talk like that anymore. So hopefully this will happen. Maybe this is this will be a reason for the change. I think COVID-19 will change so many things. Maybe this will happen too because of it.
So you don't anticipate that once the lockdown is over, once they've discovered a vaccine, then these regulators will go back to their normal operating mode.
No, I don't believe we will ever go back. I personally
Okay.
believe this COVID-19 has changed us for something for the future. Now we are in the future now. We are. And this is going to stay. COVID-19 will go away. Vaccine will be there. But the habits of the way we're working will stick to us. And I believe the organization will be key to save cost. There's so much cost saving in how we're working now. So why would we go back to the old ways? And then same goes for the regulators. So we will insist the way we work now because this will be better and be more efficient, more productive. We're saving time in our lives. So I believe we will have a vaccine, but we will never go back to pre-COVID-19 way of life, way of business, way of meeting, way of communication, way of traveling. We'll never do that. I don't believe that will happen. Some people will travel in business. They love to do that. Others will take the benefit. And organization, the management will be keen not to spend time on traveling. They will save whatever they can. It makes sense to me.
Achha, Omar, let's change the discussion. Let's talk a little bit about G.
No, before I got disconnected earlier, Salim was talking about working from home and the hours, but I was smiling because my experience is contrary to that, and I'm experienced that we are working more hours. And in fact, there's a EY Pakistan study published about 2-3 days back, which, according to the survey results, the people are generally of the they're spending more time. So, with the use of technology, we would definitely in certain protocols, like to have a clear or distinguish the need to spend and the time we need to spend during office hours. Those could be flexible, but the number of those should be almost the same. The amount of time good time you spend with family. That's very, very important. So,
Kamran,
in the last 3
accountants तो
months, I
वैसे ही
think sort of
Kamran, accountants तो वैसे ही 24 घंटे काम करते हैं. How can they work more?
In fact, Arif, I have attended meetings which started at 11 p.m. First, it was a confusion whether it's 11 a.m. or p.m. Then we were told, no, it's 11 p.m. And that meeting continued because, the general impression was, fine, we are sitting at home, so let's, this is wrong. It's physically also, it's bad for the eyes and everything. But we definitely need to establish protocols for handling this technology.
But you three are leaders. I mean, you're the leader. You set the tone. If you say the meeting's going to be at 11 p.m., then it's going to be at 11 p.m. You, Omar?
Yes, but still it's...
Exactly. It's as what you said. For us, we have been we did an approach that all our meetings are in the first half. All teams utilize Google Hangouts, Google Teams, or Zoom to conduct their meetings in the first half till 12. And after that, we have, as Salim said, in our industry, we have very clear deliverables, key action items, and tasks that we have to achieve. We can track that. So we don't have we can track that remotely as well. So for us, I think it has been much more streamlined in the way that we have worked. And I can understand what Kamran is saying because we conducted our audit right now, our yearly audit, like in a remote situation. It was the exchange of data with them and all of those things that were difficult because we as an industry, we as a company were keeping digital records of every transactions that's carried out and all of that. But that made it much more easier for our audit company to go through our records and come up with the report much quicker. But I completely see that it's not a one side of an approach when it comes to the big four side of it. It's going to be the internal company structures. They need to change. They need to get digitized to help them digitize things as well at their end. So because in many cases they might be going through manual records, looking at manual vouchers and everything. But that needs to change to bring this to make this industry evolve completely as well.
So let's talk a little bit about digital currency, because the world of finance and the world of accountancy for decades now has been about currency and recording transactions and compiling management reports, compiling financial reports, doing audit on transactions. अच्छा, अब जो new world जो है Umar, that is all about digital currency, right? अगर हम एक मोदी-esque किस्म का एटीट्यूड रखें और कल हम बोलें जी कल से हमने पाकिस्तान को digital currency पे ले आना है. We're going to abandon notes and coins, and we're going to go on to digital currency, and that to digital currency which is regulated by the central bank. Right? उसके क्या advantages हैं, Umar?
Look, if we look at the India study, it has its good things and the bad things as well. But in the short term and the medium term, right now, we as a country are in no stage of moving our systems to complete digital currency. Right now, the world is in an economic recession. The productivity is already down. A single move of going paperless completely by a regulator is not going to be positive. It's going to hamper your productivity of the economy as a whole, because there's going to be a complete activity that's going to happen of converting those money in circulation, which has increased over the past years and the past quarters, to digitize that. And to do that, you will actually hamper your productivity, and the businesses that will lose the most are going to be the small medium enterprises here, because they would have to go into small micro medium enterprises would be the biggest one to lose in all of this situation, because they will have to open their bank accounts, they will have to get their regulatory filing straight, everything straight, then get their bank accounts in 7 days, 14 days. So we need to work, if we want to go into a digital currency thing, there are a lot of ancillary things that needs to happen on the side before you can take a step that is big enough of moving to shifting yourself into a digital currency altogether. So that's my view about it, because it seems good when Modi took the decision that look, it's going to change the thing and everything. But India saw the repercussions of it. Small, medium businesses were highly impacted by it, because the money in circulation completely vanished in some nodes of the economy, and that hampers your productivity right there and then. We are already growing at a minuscule rate right now globally. Right now, we can't even think of doing that experiment.
लेकिन सलीम इसमें आप थोड़े से ये भी लेके आए जो हमारी जो नीड है टू कलेक्ट टैक्सेशन, हमारा टैक्स टू जीडीपी रेशियो काफी अरसे से 9% या 10% पे hover कर रहा है. Going to a digital economy would mean that transactions are entirely documented, right? So the ability to collect taxation from a digitized economy increases, right? So Umar is being very pragmatic as well. आपके opinion में ये हमारा need नहीं है that हम digital currency की तरफ जाएं, which is regulated by the central bank?
Look, Umar has explained to us why it's not a good idea, what will happen. But I do think this is a big opportunity. In the past, pre-COVID, it seems that we'll never be able to go digital currency. But this has created opportunity that we do go and be digitalized and have the economy based on digitalization, and that we are digital currency. Umar, this is an opportunity. which wasn't the case in the past. So yeah, with all what you shared with us, difficulties, but this is the time for everyone to just go and implement whatever is needed for us to start doing all our activities using our digital and not having. I don't want to touch notes. And people realize that how bureaucracy is bad physically for me when I take money from someone. When I'm getting besides the money, I'm getting something else also. So I think this awareness is also going to help us. So I believe, though difficult, though challenge, as you must said, but this is the time, now or never. We must go ahead and start and show taxation will become very simple, because every time I do a transaction using my digital, device, it will be documented completely. Nothing will be
Yep.
out of it. So it
Yep.
does make sense for a country like Pakistan. I believe that this is the time to really go and take a very tough decision. Surely things will be tough for people. Small business may have a problem, but I think, Omar, we agree they're tough. Everybody has a smartphone. Everybody has a device.
Yep.
So I think it will be. I believe it will be quicker to adopt. I think understanding your concern, I believe we will be quick. If we allow, if we are forced, I believe we'll succeed.
So Salim is saying, bring it on, bring it on.
Oh, do it. Come on, guys, let's do it.
Let's bring it on. Kamran, एक second over. Kamran, जो accounting profession की जो capabilities हैं to audit digital, to record digital,
Yes.
okay, to put a stamp on digital that this is true and fair and honest. Capabilities हैं हमारे पास.
I'm sorry, Arif, I couldn't hear you properly. Can you repeat your question?
नहीं मेरा ये है that
Voice was breaking down.
does the audit profession have the capabilities to sort of put a stamp on the digital methodology, digital payments, digital currency, that this is true and fair? Do we have those capabilities to really record and audit the digital footprint of money?
See, in Pakistan and internationally also, when you talk about the profession, it is categorized amongst the big four, and then there are these other small. Now, yes, or in fact, no, at the moment, no one has this kind of competency, but in the big four, there are these within the network, there's quite a lot of help which is available for adopting to any changes. So once these things or developments come into the economy, we can adopt to that. But generally for the profession, I think it's going to be a big challenge because the general automation itself has been lacking. So this kind of economy, yeah, it's a very, very big challenge.
Yeah, so it's a big challenge for the accounting profession, and therefore, thinking about what Umar said about taking it piecemeal, one step at a time, would probably be a case of bringing all the stakeholders together. But I do also, personally, I do feel that, like Salim said, that Pakistan, I think, is an economy ripe for digital currency. Acha, I have to look at the comments, the live comments, because we've only got an hour and I have to address some of these. So we've got some comments from Zishan Janzeb, Mirza West. Those have been answered. Those are routine admin type of questions. Appreciation from some people as well listening online. Fine. I'm in the 6-digit program, but I don't know what that is. What do you think digitization is complete replacement of face-to-face business in terms of revenue generation? तो ये specific question है, can digital interface replace face-to-face revenue generation completely? Salim, आप ये बताएं sir.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope there is a human angle left in us. I wish that. Yes, we'll use technology for business, and we use technology to make it, life more, livable. But human
Yeah.
interaction is needed, and last call before a customer sign a contract will be human. It has to be human interaction. And
Right.
in sales, we will definitely be needing to be in front of the customer, giving them this emotional pitch why we are the best vendor. You can't do that in the Zoom. That will not happen. And we're talking about
Right.
we're talking about big amounts involved of a contract. So yeah, digital will never be able 100% take over. There will surely be a percentage of human interaction, and I hope it's good. I love my interaction with
Right.
the customers. I like to be with people.
Right. So Salim loves his customers and he wants to spend time with them. And
And
Umar,
that builds the confidence amongst.
that builds confidence.
So for us, it's a bit different. For example, we are transaction processes. So the least human interaction there is between the transaction processing, it's the fastest. So for us, we want minimal human interaction. But when it comes to serving client businesses and such people on our products, we for us it's like we don't do tech vendor work for different companies or anything of that sort. So we are digital distribution where users use our tech and products to carry out transactions and to do their things. So we have a minimal interaction with our
Great.
customers
एक
already.
और क्वेश्चन ले लेते हैं. Abuzer Raza, thank you for that earlier question. Tamina Sharyar, my question is, we understand the need for adapting to changes in environment and the need for skills that sync more with technology, but isn't this time to realize that senior professionals can be an asset too? Age bias shown in the form of overqualified verdict is too common. How to address the issue of mindset? So Tamina to very much keh rahi hai that we need to also rely upon generation. Is it Generation X? Kamran, are you and I Generation X, or are we baby boomers? I don't know what the hell we are. Yes, I think. Yeah. I think Salim, myself, and Kamran are probably from the 60s generation. But Umar, let me ask you, आपके environment में, you have diversity in age,
Yep.
and do you think that's beneficial?
Yeah, it is. It is. It is really beneficial for us in terms of diversity of age. Because
Can you give me a job then?
maybe you think of a thing in a certain way. We think of solving that problem using tech and improving that thing. So learning from your experiences how transactions or how things were carried out before and improving the business process re-engineering really helps us when you are doing that. For example, we revamped a complete loan digitize. We did the complete loan digitization process. Now we can process loans within 5 minutes, credit evaluate them using our machine learning and AI tech. Where did that AI and machine learning come from? It was the insights of people, your bracket, that I used to look at this. This is my non-financial metrics that I used to look at in evaluating an application. This is what I used to see. These are the financial things I used to see. These were the other things we were seeing. So we understood that, and we started looking for alternate data points where we can get this to create a complete tech which can allow a Karyana store or anyone of that sort to take a loan within 5 minutes. So we partnered up with different FMCGs to get their data, their purchase history of each Karyana outlet. So now any Karyana outlet who is in our database can take a loan within 5 minutes. Whereas when he goes into a bank, the average processing time for a loan is going to be 21 days for him. So these are the things that we have learned from the senior people and improved and built on top of them.
Okay, let's take some more questions. All right, okay. A range of activities, blah, blah, blah. Try and find. how can, oh, this is a good one. This is probably right up your street, Salim and Kamran. How can we monitor the performance of team members working at home? You know, आप कोई कैमरा लगा के देखोगे उनके ऊपर, आप big brother type thing, आप spy करोगे उनके ऊपर. Kamran, how do you monitor your staff working from home, Kamran?
See, the answer would be have two aspects. One is the cultural part, where it's something long term, where you have this culture of trust, and the one now, or the short term one, is that our work is task based. So you assign a task to someone, and then you ideally have the number of hours that would be required to do the task. So you expect the other person to complete it by then. But yes, definitely not cameras or anything. But it's the general culture in the organization, and then you can have a fair idea of the number of man hours required to do that task.
Okay, let's wrap up now. We've done an hour. Salim, आपके last words, Salim, as well, from you and the others as well. Salim, आप बोलें पहले.
Just to add to what Kamran said, I believe this has to be a trust factor. I believe that every single NetSolian is a professional, and they will behave very professionally even when I'm not watching them. This is it.
Yep.
That's how I will, believe in each single person work for NetSol, and then we'll let them do the job, and they have commitments to deliver, and we believe they do that. So I think this is it. And Kamran said rightly, culture of the company is important. In our case, we are, very, very satisfied the way it has worked out in the last 3 months. But my last word, look, this change is permanent. We will not go back, Arif. We have to accept it has changed us and the world. And the business will change, customers will change, and we will change. We must change. So please accept it. It is going to last. It's not going to go back to normal once we have the vaccine. Once we accept that, it'll be easy for us from going forward.
Right, so we're all going to change. Kamran, what's your last words for the listeners?
My last words are that finance and technology now go hand in hand. In these times, you cannot even imagine that a finance professional will not be, or really into IT, and will be comfortable in using all these tools. So in this day and age, it's just not imaginable now. So all the professionals, especially the young ACCAs that you have as audience today, my message would be to keep themselves abreast with all the changes coming into IT and the tools that are now available, which will really facilitate their work either in the profession or the industry.
Right, so similar messages from Salim and Kamran about change and keeping up to date. Umar, as the sort of baby in this group, the millennial baby, what's your message?
So we already in our company, we call it an AC and a BC. After Corona and a before Corona business dynamics for us, it's like it's going to be a profound effect that's going to last for the future. Now it's like a clear distinction, a breaking point, a world before Corona and world after Corona, and how the businesses are, and it's key for every individual. We are at a point where a cusp of business and technology skills are very important for the future. You can't just be a business professional or a finance professional. You will always will have to succeed. You have to be at a midpoint of business and tech. That's the future that we believe. Business and tech is the midpoint that found as an effect of what we have seen.
Great. Thank you all very much for your words and your messages to the ACCA audience. I'm sorry we lost Aftab Bhatt, the chief executive of Capco. Perhaps he had a power outage at his place. Kamran, thank you very much. Salim, thank you very much. And Umar, thank you very much as well. Just Khudafiz to the audience on behalf of all of us, and on behalf of ACCA, I really appreciate you joining us today.